There's no team like my team. They are the Washington Spirit, DC's professional women's soccer team. And they got it all. A Secretary of Defense, a First Lady, and world leaders.
There it is!
In this town, some move left, some right, but they move forward. Because winning is everything. Hey, they've done it before. That's my team, the Washington Spirit.
Jason, go ahead and kick us off.
Hi, Mark. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes.
Thanks for speaking with us. Obviously, kind of a difficult one, maybe from start to finish. It seemed that throughout the match, it was kind of hard for the group to find a way to progress the ball. What were you seeing in terms of that side of the game, dealing with Gotham's press and then also just their structure?
Yeah. Credit to Gotham. I mean, they're pressing the athletes and the energy that they have. If you empty the pockets of the Gotham roster, there's more trophies probably won on that team with the players they have than any other roster in the league at the moment. But they've got great athletes, and you kind of got two choices with their press. You can take it on, or you can try and skip it. But I thought the game would get harder if we did that. So first half, it was tough for the build-up. Second half felt very different until the first goal. I think we were much better in the build-up. Our spacing was better. They had to cover more distance, and we're having a lot more success. And actually, about 2 minutes before their goal, it felt such a different game than the first half, and I was very happy with the maturity of the team. And then the goals changed games, and they sneak one in. It was a strange one for us out of nothing. They get a chance. We probably had the best two chances of the game until that point. And then they pounce again before we really settle. First half we struggled with their press. Second half was much better, and we did a better job. And our shot count was going up and up, and theirs was staying the same until they scored. And then they had a wave, and Red Bull Arena was a light there for a minute. But then we also finished the game creating chances. So my feeling is the outcome of this game, I am not trying to downplay the outcome. The outcome is not good for us. It's a negative result. We're here to win a game. But in the first half, we hung in there against a good team. We stayed there away from home. In the second half, we were the better team until they scored. And that could have been us. This was a big game, and we showed a big game mentality tonight. And some other big games, we haven't quite been there. Against Chicago, we weren't there. We were there tonight, but we're playing a top opponent away from home. I think I tipped Gotham to have the Shield in pre-season with the roster they have and the trophies that they've had. They spent a huge amount of money, 500, 600, 700, 800 on a couple of players. 800, so much thousand in allocation to bring in experienced players. Credit to Gotham, and we were there. We're in a different stage of developing this roster, and we were right there up until that first goal, which changed games. So Chicago was disappointed in us, and tonight we were right there, and the performance was strong. And in the 18s, we couldn't quite score. They did, and we still carry on creating chances till the end.
It has been a little while. I know, performance today, you're saying, better than Chicago, better mentality. But it has been a little bit since you've had that win in regular season play when, every side has their best going out there. Do you feel the group sort of feeling the weight of that right now, or are they sort of processing this game in these early moments in a way that you're pleased with?
There's no part of the season where we can get stuck or thinking about things that don't help or give energy. What weighs heavy on this group is performances. So if performances are good, that gives us energy. When we have not played well, it hurts us. It really does. The Chicago game, it hurt us. We did not perform. We were not there. And dominated the game. Expected goals. We could have scored loads, but we weren't there. And tonight we were. So what's heavy is how we play. The team cares about the process, and absolutely, I wish Portland we should have won. Chicago we should have won. And tonight it was a game that the first goal probably was going to decide it, and they somehow scrapped it in. And credit to them, very experienced, athletic team. For us, focusing in this window now on continuing to improve performance. Butel does her first 90 minutes. Ule had a small knock, so we had to bring her at the half time, and Cam did a great job before. We're finally building momentum with everyone back together. It's only been 3 games. FIFA window is not great timing for us. And then we get ready for Kansas. And I think my energy is and positivity is in other big games. I think of Portland away. We weren't quite ready for that big moment. And I thought tonight was a big game, and I think we were ready for the moment. And it sounds, as silly as it sounds, I think it's big for our group. We have a lot of, we're still young in the development of the team, but also young in experience of big games. The history of the club, we were bottom in 13 and in 14 and 15, fortunate to be a part of staff that got it up there, and 16 went to a championship, and then it fell to the bottom again. And then in 21 back up here, and then last year fell to the bottom again. And it's been that type of club, and our goal remains very fixed on. We want to be in the top 2 every year and become the top 1 every year. And that starts with, of course, developing a team and being there in the big games. And I'm proud that we were there tonight. Not happy with the result, but mentality was good. And credit to Gotham. They had a good game, and quality from Esther to put the ball in the back of the net.
Thanks, Mark. I'll pass the mic here. I see Andre on the call now.
Yep.
Andre, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm driving, but wanted to ask about the start for Bogalski. It seemed like Sar had been getting a good run of games, and I was just wondering your thought process on starting Bogalski instead of Sar today.
Yeah, sure. So Ule had a small issue last week in the training game, just felt a hamstring. She wasn't really training with the group up all week until yesterday. So we limited her to 45. But also Cam, we felt we needed some defensive pressure over there with Bruninia, and how could we keep her and whether it's Lynn or Midge on that wing quiet. So Ule 45, we preferred that, we knew the first half was going to be what it was a big wave and storm from Gotham, but we weathered it, and up until the goal, we controlled the second half. It was almost like the stadium energy had gone and Gotham's energy had gone, and we started to settle down. And then their goal, the stadium absolutely took off on their goal, and away from home that becomes tough. So Ule's fine. She'll be back up to hopefully big minutes when we roll round for Kansas.
I wanted to ask about, the flow of the game. I'm sorry I was late, so you may have covered some of this with Jason. But just looking at the Chicago game and then this game where, the half-hour spurt from Gotham happened, you regain controlling the second half, and then give up 2 goals pretty quickly, and the same kind of thing happened against Gotham. Do you pinpoint what exactly is happening with those kind of quick-fire goals that the team is conceding suddenly?
Yeah, I can't connect this game to Chicago. I think Chicago, we were on top, they scored. We were on top, then they scored. Here, I think I agree with your flow of the game, that we were actually on top when they scored their first. And the wave of energy, I think Gotham had a good 5 minutes until their second goal. The stadium took off. And I think Gotham found a new step. And I think we hung in there. I wish we didn't give up that second chance, that second goal. But it wasn't, for me, it didn't connect. If it was the same rhythm, same pattern as the Chicago, maybe there's something there. But actually, mentally was my biggest positive tonight. Big game. We were there for a big game, and the chips fell the wrong way for us.
And my last question is just with the attack. I know you got some new players playing, and it's not quite settled, I suppose, on the training ground, but it seems like the team is struggling to kind of generate consistent chances. So you kind of speak to what you're looking for the team to do and kind of how they rebounded a bit, I guess, comparing the Chicago game to this one.
Yeah, we've done some great work the last 2 weeks in the final third, and how we create chances. And tonight, the chances until the last 15 minutes, it was, we weren't on top and creating chance after chance like Chicago, but we had better spacing. We had a bit of a better understanding. That stuff, of course, takes time. We got to keep going. We got to keep working on that and getting, I think tonight, our build up to get there was something that was key, and sometimes it was good and not so good. But we didn't give the front three and Sanchez a huge amount of opportunity to put the work from the training pitch out there tonight. And home game against Kansas, more time to keep working in the build up with the players that will be here during the FIFA date. And yeah, our national team players who head off, and I hope they get some confidence and bring that back. And we stay focused on process. We keep working, we keep practicing, we keep developing, and hopefully at the right time this is all going to click. It's not easy losing so many attacking players in the middle of your season and then trying to get them back on the same page. There's one year I had it in Portland, it was the same. Attack is about cohesion and understanding and small details, and we'll get there. I hope we get there sooner than later, but we'll get there.
One more, if you'll allow. You mentioned Sanchez. Just wanted to check on her injury. It looks like she was down with something and then came out of the game. No, it's early, but do you have any news on Sanchez?
Yeah, no update. Fingers crossed, but I like to try and give something. I got nothing. I have nothing. I don't feel it's serious. When I caught her as she came off, but there's definitely some pain there. So fingers crossed, but I really don't know.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Jason, wrap us up.
Mark, I did want to ask, kind of on the topic you were just speaking on, that aspect of trying to find Sanchez, find Rodman, find Sarr in maybe a little more isolation. There were some moments tonight where it almost happened, especially I think in the first half you had 4 or 5 chances to play in behind that were, if the pass was better, you end up with a really promising opportunity. Do you see the team as a collective able to generate those moments where you're isolating your attackers often enough? And if so, where is it maybe, if it's not often enough, where is it maybe falling short?
Yeah, I in training the last 2 weeks, we've been finding those moments you actually just discussed from the first half, and then we have been creating from that, getting into great areas to finish or create the chance to score. And we had a training game last week, some fantastic goals, 11v11 this week, some really superb goals that from the moments you just talked about. Tonight we played a top opponent. I'm going to take a bet where our expected goals was higher than theirs until the first goal. It was tough, and we still created some opportunity. I would love to have way more. With the possession they hadn't created any clear-cut chances. And we give the ball away in the defensive third and give them a look, and then it bounces in. I agree with, we were just missing that moment. We missed it a little bit in the second half as well. I saw Trin take off, and I thought Feist could have just played her through. It's when you get into this place, now you're thinking a lot. And of course, you need to think. The game is about the brain, not the body. But when you're overthinking and you're thinking a lot, then you're not in a flow, and everything is a bit slower. So we've taken steps, and I hope that we can get to the point of building some confidence, but then also not think so much. And the good thing is, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen it in training. It's been there, and tonight, yeah, if we had a bit more control, maybe we would have seen us make some of those. But it was a big game. This was a playoff game, and we're playing away from home against a very experienced group of players, and they squeezed that first one in, and yeah, it changes the game.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
the space bar when we're talking or no?
No, it's just on.
Okay.
All right, we have Sam Staub and Cam Bogalski. Jason, go ahead and kick us off.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks to you both for speaking with us. I wanted to ask, first of all, it seemed, especially in the first half, like it was very difficult to play as a group, to play around, whether it was Gotham's press or when they didn't press, when they got into their shape. It seemed like both phases were a little tricky. From both of your perspectives on different parts of the field, what were you seeing in terms of the difficulty of that?
Yeah, it was definitely tough in the first half. Their press is really good. That's where they are really strong, in countering teams and all that. I think we weathered the storm, and that was what we could take from the first half, honestly. We stayed in it. I don't think we conceded too many shots on goal or anything like that. So I think we just pretty much defended and kind of tried to minimize damage. But yeah, first half was definitely tough. We weathered the storm on both sides of the ball, honestly. Anything to add?
Yep. Mark mentioned that he felt the second half performance was quite a bit better, but then the goal comes and it kind of things shifted from there. Did you maybe sense that the game was kind of up for grabs until the goal, or was it still that when Sam, like you were saying, that playing through the first half, having to weather the storm, it can be very exhausting. So to have that first half and then the nature of their goal, did that maybe cause a collective drop from your perspective, or was it just sort of some bad luck?
I mean, I feel like we had a little more energy, honestly, in the second half. We did concede 2 goals, but I still think we had some opportunities around the box, especially at the end, and that's usually when it's hardest. So yeah, I mean, but second half was we still had energy, and conceding is tough, but we stayed in it.
Yeah, I think we started building in the game, and I think it was up for grabs. I think it was shifting almost in our favor. Then obviously 2 unlucky goals, 2 unlucky quick goals, which is always tough. And after that, it was kind of a brawl out there, and it wasn't very clean or pretty. Because we're scrapping for a game, they're trying to just close the game out. It's just 2 completely different scenarios. So that was definitely tough. I thought we played well, like Cam said, had more energy in the second half for sure. And yeah, it could have been anyone's game, just tough to give up 2, I would say, unlucky goals for us to give up. So yeah.
It seems, just comparing to last week or against Chicago, it seems like maybe there's a knowledge within the group that this was a better performance, even though the result comes out the same. Or do you feel any sort of weight in the fact that it's, performance and results, late season, the results have to be there, performance kind of notwithstanding. Do you feel some weight from that, or is it still very much like this was a good performance overall, missing a couple parts, and we can build on it?
I think it was a decent performance overall, and it's something that we can definitely build from. I'm not trying to lighten the fact that we lost, and we lost 2-0 in a really important game, and we have 3 games left in the season, and we're fighting for a playoff spot now. I'm not trying to lighten that at all, but it is a game that I think we can build from and learn from, and hopefully from here on out we can take the rest of the points and end up in the playoffs.
Thanks. I will pass the mic to Andre. If I know he was at the wheel, so I don't know if he can answer any questions or not.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, still driving, but I'm good. Wanted to ask Cameron, wanted to ask you a question. This was a start for you, which was great, and also seeing you in attack. When did you were you told well before that you were going to start, and also what was kind of your task out there? What was kind of Parsons looking for you to do facing Gotham's press and attack?
I mean, knew, I guess, earlier this week. He really just wanted me to kind of get in behind, use my speed. And we tried that.
Initiate our press. We didn't
Yeah.
really get that right
We
though.
didn't, yeah. So there's a couple things, but I think we struggled with them a little bit. There's always room for improvement, so we will build for next game.
And just a question for both of you, really, because this has been kind of an inconsistent, patch for the team, but it also kind of coincides with a lot of international play. So just kind of wondering how the cohesion, of course, is a little difficult to maintain in midfield and attack when you have quite a few players that are kind of in and out of the squad on a pretty consistent basis.
I wouldn't say cohesion is an issue. I think it's probably our greatest strength. I think this team loves and cares for each other probably more than any other team that I've been on. So I think that's something that's really important that we can use as like a foundation going into this like really important push. We all really want to play for each other, with each other, and kind of give everything out there. So I think that's something that we can honestly build on is our cohesion on and off the pitch.
And a question in the room from JJ?
Sam, obviously, wasn't the result you guys desired. It honestly was two unlucky breaks. The first one, you guys blocked, I think, the first two shots, and it just happened to find Nestor's foot. The second one, it pretty much took a pretty still pass from the Williams to break the center backs. What out there do you see that may have at any other point during the game happened to have been able to change it for you guys and put you guys ahead instead?
Her being offsides. Yeah, that falling our way, or honestly being able to nick something in the first half or in the second half. We had a few opportunities. So I think just not conceding in the way that we did, or not conceding two in the way that we did. Yeah, I think they were just unlucky breaks, and yeah, it's hard to come back from.
It was obviously the chess match that's always between you two. Both coaches have a similar style. Players pretty much go 1-for-1. What do you guys take going into these last three to make sure you get that playoff spot?
I think something that we were really good at the beginning of the year, and not to say we're not good anymore, is just like the grit and tenacity. I think we actually did okay at that in the first half, and that's how we kept ourselves in. But I think it's just something, like I said, the cohesion is something we can build from. I think are just like grit and willingness to fight for each other is something else that we can build off of. And just hope that results start to go our way, and just like keep working hard for each other. Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned that this is a performance despite the result that you can build on. Do you feel like maybe some of the things defensive, you guys were physical, especially more in the second half? They're going to have a lot of the ball because, like you said, they press a lot. But it seemed like someone like, say, Lopez was getting the ball out wide instead of in a good position. Do you feel like that before the two unlucky goals, as you call them, do you feel like you were limiting the amount of good chances they had and being physical with them and not really letting them get a lot of good opportunities? And that's something you can build on going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think they had 4 shots on goal and 2 of them went in. Yeah, so I think we did a pretty decent job of limiting chances. Yeah, it's just tough.
I think our press gets a little better too, and then there's even less chances.
Mhm.
It starts from the front, so.
Yeah.
3 games to go. Obviously, you want to win them all. What do you think would be some of the keys going down the stretch that will allow you to get those results that you need to get into the playoffs?
Scoring first.
Being turned on
Mm-hmm.
the entire game.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you both. And
Thank
we'll see
you.
everyone in a few weeks.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.